Hi, this is David from Dyson Bikes, and today we're going to have a look at what you get in the box with the Thule 925 AU, or the VeloCompact 2-bike rack. The Australian version's ever so slightly different to what you might find elsewhere. The key thing is it comes with an adapter, which we're going to show you. So in the box, we're going to crack this thing open now, and in here, you get the box out of the way. We have got the rack itself. Put that bar at the back. Here's our rack. Sit that there. So we've got the rack. This bar goes at the back here. You've also got your little trailer adapter. So out of the box, the rack comes with a 7-pin round plug. I think it actually says 13-pin on the box, but it's a 7-pin round. And then in this little packet here is an adapter. And this adapter takes you from the 7-pin round, which I'll plug in now, to the Australian standard 7-pin flat. So that's one of the key differences in the Australian version of the rack. Also in our box we've got the little alligator jaws to hold the bike on, 2 of those. Little kit of bits, which is the screws to hold the piece that comes up here. We'll show you how they go on, and some instructions. So that's basically what you get in the box of the VeloCompact 925 AU. We're going to do a quick look now. We'll pop it together and show you how to assemble it. Okay, so we showed you there's a little bag of bits that come with the rack. So what you've got is here is these 2 wheels, 2 little spacers. They're actually nuts that go in the end here, and a couple of washers and these screws. So first thing you need to do with fitting these is these go into the ends of these hand wheels, and then we'll show you now how to assemble it onto the rack. Okay, now we're going to show you how to put this support piece on. Just take note that's slightly different from one side to the other. So one side's got this little notch cut out in it, so that has to face the taillight side or the back of the rack. Then take that and just pop it pretty much at the bottom from the back side of it. Slide that in, rock it forward, and then slide that down. Okay, next thing you want to do is find your little bolts, and they have to go from the outside of the rack through that hole to the inside. There we go. And just make sure that that's all the way down, and then you'll see they'll slot right in like that. They've got a little square piece on that bolt, and that needs to fit into the end like that, so they're flush on this side. Now, next thing you do is grab your washers. They just go over the bolts, over that exposed thread. Grab our little hand wheels, spin them on. Same on the other side. So they're on, and then we've got our 2 little pieces here. What they are is they're a locking nut, and that stops this wheel coming loose. So if you look carefully on one side, you'll see it actually takes the Allen key there. So grab it like that, tighten that roughly into place, like so. And then we'll undo that wheel a bit. And you basically, that's how that goes. Just make sure that's on properly. And what that does is that stops that. Now if we undo it, it can only go so far, and that stops that little wheel falling off. Okay, so the other thing we forgot to mention before was the keys for the rack. They're normally with a little rubber band here off the handle. that key, they're coded and unique to this rack. You've got a lock here to lock it to the tow ball, plus you've also got a lock in the end of the little gripper handles here. When you do the lock on these, it just lets that free spin so no one can undo it and nick your bike. And then back in the locked position, then we can move this back or forward. So to attach these onto the rack, you just want to undo it so it's nice and wide. Squeeze the little grippers together and you'll see that opens up like that. And then we can put this around our support bar. Wherever you need it to be, you can slide it up and down as you need to. And then when you tighten it up, that's going to, once you tighten that, that secures that on so it can't be removed. So that's the basic ins and outs of the Thule VeloCompact. Okay, so now we've got our Thule VeloCompact rack out of the box. Let's just go through some of the key features of this rack. The great thing about the VeloCompact is the clues in the name. It's a nice compact rack. It's only 14.1 kilos, so pretty easy to lift and take on and off your car. You've got these special features where you can slide out your lights and your wheel support trays. They're nice and easy to move and can be adjusted to sort of suit your bike. It'll take most bikes up to a 3-inch wide tyre and up to a 29er wheel. Important thing to note is the weight capacity or weight carrying capacity of this rack is a little bit lower than some of the other racks on the market. It's 46 kilos total and not more than 25 kilos per bike. So if you have one bike that's 25 kilos, the other bike has to be 21 kilos or less. So you can't exceed 46 kilos of weight across the two bikes. But most probably e-bikes on the market, if you remove the battery, are going to come in under that 46 kilos or notionally 23 kilos per bike. To secure the bike onto the rack, you've got 3 points, I guess, that hold each bike onto the rack. You've got these little wheel straps here. These have a little tooth mechanism on them. They just push through, so they're pretty easy to get on and get about right. And then you've got a ratcheting mechanism to get more tension to really secure that onto the rack. To release it, it's just a matter of pushing it in and pulling them apart. You've also got your little grippers that we mentioned before, so these can spin around. You can pull up on the frame, seat post, seat tube, wherever that's sort of convenient and solid, and these can be moved from the top around the edge pretty simply if you need to find a better position to mount these onto. We've also got your lighting that's integrated into the rack. These use standard incandescent bulbs. They're not an LED bulb, but really the amount of time you're going to use this rack, these bulbs are going to last pretty much a lifetime. I think that covers most of the key components of the rack. What we might do now is take it down, pop it on the back of the car and just show you how it works. Okay, so now we've got our rack assembled. We're ready to pop it onto the car. So really the only special requirement you have for your vehicle is to have a 50mm tow ball on your tow bar. Any tow ball should be fine with this rack. Some of the Thule racks do come supplied with a ball that you really need to use with the rack. This one, the VeloCompact, is no problem. You can use pretty much any tow ball with the rack. I haven't found any issues so far with them. So to fit it onto the tow ball, pick it up left hand onto this support bar, right hand onto this silver tray here, I find is easiest. And we're going to make sure the handle's up as well. This should be up before you drop it on. And then we're going to pop this handle down. So just push that on and that's secured onto our tow ball now. So you can see it's very easy to put it on and off. There is there's a little adjuster under this handle. So you can turn it clockwise to add more pressure or anti-clockwise to release it. So you want it that there's a reasonable amount of pressure, but you're not really having to force it to lock it onto the back of the vehicle. Once it's on, it's not going to move. If it does move, I find that it's 99 times out of 100, it's the tow ball itself is not tight enough. The way to make sure it is tight is to put the rack on first, then you've got something to hold on to the tow ball, and you can get underneath it with a nice big shifter and get that tow ball really tight onto the vehicle. Okay, so now we've got it on here. The next thing to do is make sure that these are pushed down into position. Same with your lights, you want to slide them out. Right, so that's all in position. Now we're ready to put a bike onto the rack. So we've got one of our Dyson bikes here, one of our Thule models. So the thing to just be mindful of when you put the bike onto the rack is the position of the pedals. If the pedal on this side is too high, it's going to run into the other bike. So we'll give it a go and see if this is going to fit on. So you can just lift the whole bike on, or you can roll it up. So it's going to depend on the other bike you have here, but essentially you generally want this pedal down low and the pedal on the other side up high, facing through the back of that support mechanism. So once you've got the bike onto the rack, then you can secure your straps onto the wheels. And the first few times you do this, it's probably a good idea to have someone helping you. So we'll just put them on loosely at the moment. Here we've got our little clamp, shorter ones for this position here. This bike's pretty good. We can pull up onto this top bar. Just do up that clamp. Or we could, depending on the position of the bike, we could pull up on here or the seat post. They're the different spots. So if we had two of these, we'd run the longer bar and pull up on any one of those positions. So once that's done, we tighten that up. That's nice and secure. We need to put our strap on our other wheel. So again, just feed it through. Now we've got it about right, we'll ratchet it up. There we go, so our bike's on there and it's nice and secure. The other feature of this rack, it has a tilt function. So by pushing down on that foot pedal, then we can tilt our bikes out of the way to get into a standard sedan or hatch boot. And you can see the bike's on there, it's quite well balanced, so you don't need, it's not very heavy because it's just nicely balanced on that rack there. To pop it back, you just sort of slam it back. Just keep an eye on where your cables are though. You don't want to chop them off. And clunk, that just pops back on. So there you go, that's how to put the rack onto your car and how to load a bike onto it.